Rahman Rahim, we say that the intrinsic quality of water is to purify. Allah Ta'ala says in the Quran, وَأَنزَلْنَا مِنَ السَّمَاءِ مَاءً طَهُورًا, right? So that is the default rule. The default ruling of water is that it has a purification, or rather it has the quality to remove physical najasat, and also has the quality to remove hukmi najasat, that najasat which you don't see, rather it's a state of condition, like hadith asghar, the need to make wudu, hadith akbar, the need to make ghusl, etc. So as long as the water is in its original form, it is unadulterated, you don't have any proof to say that this water has changed, then the default ruling is it has the quality of cleansing. Right? Are you with me? Now, that's what we discussed. Then the next thing is this here now. If okay, we discussed a little bit about the waters that squeeze, that come from a tree, from a fruit, etc. We said that water there, you cannot make wudu because it doesn't fall under the definition of water. Water is that which occurs naturally in the environment, and it comes from the skies, it comes from the ocean, it comes from the well. This is something which comes from a fruit or a tree. I think that is what we'll say is a juice. Then the last part of the same ibarat there, it says there that if the water drops from a fruit and karam, it drops from a grape or something, then that you are supposed to be able to make wudu with that. And there's a subtle indication in Kuduri Sharif, which is referred to as Al Kitab also, that you can make wudu with that. So I told you there, maybe I thought maybe it could mean that it refers to the water that accumulates on the outside, but it doesn't refer to the actual water on the grapes, whatever. Right. Then the next thing we discussed is this here. This water, when it changes from one entity to another entity, then because remember Allah said you can use water, but when that changes, it's not water anymore. Like I told you, I give you an example. If you take water and you put so much of this syrup in it that when you even speak about it, you don't say this is water, you say this is now juice, this is rust, this is asir. So that shows you it is not water anymore. Like I told you, you take the water and you put in the ingredients of a tarkari, you put in the ingredients of a soup, right? So you don't refer to it as water anymore. So that shows you it has been overpowered. It has changed from one entity to another entity. But if you put so little of syrup in that you still refer to it as water, that shows it is still water. You can still make wudu with it. Are you with me? Right. So that is what we're discussing there. So if you understood this now, what I told you now, this much, that when the change is so dramatic of the additive, that it is not referred to as water anymore, its whole name changes, then that is the one that is not water anymore. See, wala yaju, okay, read it, wala yajuzu. Yeah, see. So wala yajuzu. So wudu will not be permissible. Bima, what that? Bima ghalaba alayhi ghayruhu. Additive ghayru means a second thing, a third thing overpowers it. Right? Bima, right? Bima, right? Ghalaba alayhi ghayruhu. فأخرجه. And that additive is so much, or it is so strong. One of the two. فأخرجه عن طبع الماء. It removes it from the very nature of water. So you don't refer to water anymore. كالأشربة, like juice. والخل, vinegar. وماء الورد, rose water. وماء الباقلاء. And ماء الباقلاء is باقلا. You check the meaning of باقلا. It's also like a fruit, not a fruit, it's like a it's like a vegetable, like maybe like a brinjal or something. Just Google, check it there. Right, وماء الباقلاء والمرق, and gravy. وماء الزردج, and ماء الزردج is also like it's like a stone, like maybe you can say like a potassium that is mixed with the water. لأنه لا يسمى ماء مطلقا. When these things are mixed with the water, right? When these things are mixed with the water, they change the water from one entity to another entity. Are you with me? You found it. That's also like a type of a vegetable, a brinjal. So that's what he's saying there. If you mix the date, you put the dates with the water, and it becomes like a nabiz, like how they should do in previous times. Wal khalli, or you put the vinegar, loud, that's okay type of vegetable. Khalli, you put the vinegar in, and the whole thing changes, right? So these things that changes the very nature of water. Why? Because you don't refer to it as water anymore, right? Wal murad. So you see there, لأنه لا يسمى ماء مطلقا. This is not even referred to as water. And what must you make wudu with? You must make wudu with water. والمراد بماء الباقي اللائي ما تغير بالطبخ. So this type of vegetable, like a broad, you see the broad bean, whatever. What is intended with that water? Mata when it's cooked with it, right? فإن تغير بدون طبخ يجوز التوضؤ به. See, if you just took water, right, and you put a vegetable in there, and the color of the water slightly changed a bit, maybe it went a bit dark, it went a bit brown or something like that. That is not a dramatic change because here in the Shara they say, like, like we also done this. I've been doing it here with in Fiqh al-Muyassar, like when the water turns green because of algae, or in previous times, obviously the water was not covered. It was not like a covered reservoir, so leaves fall in the water, some fruit fall in the water, etc. And obviously that mix maybe changes the color of the water. So there it says you can still make wudu because this is something ma la yuhtaraz anhu. It's difficult. So same thing here. If you add water and you put some vegetable in there and you never cook it, but the water changed a little bit even. So there you can still make wudu because it did not take it out from the definition of water. Yes, if you to cook that vegetable or something in the water, now it changes from water, it changes to what? It changes to a soup, it changes to a curry, a tarkari, etc. Right? Carry on. Yeah. So sometimes the water retains its quality of being thin, of being viscous, of being able to clean and purify, while something pure mixes with it. For example, وَيَجُوزُ الطَّهَارَةُ. So you can make complete taharat, whether it is for wudu, whether it is for ghusl, etc. وَيَجُوزُ الطَّهَارَةُ بِمَاءٍ with water. خَالَطَهُ شَيْءٌ طَاهِرٌ. That something pure mixed with it. فَغَيَّرَ أَحَدَ أَوْصَافِهِ. Even though it changed one of his qualities. Because remember, water has three qualities: color, taste, smell. So just changing one of its qualities while it is still thin, it's still flowable, is not a dramatic enough change to take it out from the hukum of water. You understood? فغير أحد أوصافه, like say كماء المد, like the waters of the flood. Like, sometimes the waters of the flood, it flows over the sand, it flows over the dirt. So even if it looks brown, no problem. So the water can be, even sometimes maybe the water comes from a dam with the floor of the dam is maybe red clay, it is brown clay. So when you look at the water, it looks reddish. When you look at the water, it looks brownish. There you can make wudu, no problem. Why? Because it only changed one of its qualities, right? There's some explanation in Fiqh al-Muyassar. I did allude to this yesterday. He say that there's three qualities: taste, color, and smell. There's three qualities: taste, color, and smell. So if the thing you're adding to the water, it has two qualities with it. Then for you to change one quality is enough for you not to be able to make wudu. For example, you add milk to it. Now milk has taste and it has color. So if the water changes in color or in taste, then it is not correct to use it by wudu. And if the additive has three qualities like vinegar, it's got a strong taste, it's got a strong smell, and it's got a strong color, then you must add so much that at least two qualities of that water change. It must taste like vinegar, must smell like vinegar, or it must look like vinegar, it must taste like vinegar, or it must taste like vinegar and smell like vinegar. So if the two qualities manifest itself in the water after putting in the additive, then we will say you cannot make water. We say now it has been overpowered, right? So ويجوز الطهارة بماء خالط شيء طاهر. So if something pure mixed with it, فغير أحد أوصافه, and this pure thing changes one of his qualities, like the water of the flood, والماء الذي اختلط والماء الذي اختلط به الزعفران, and like water, the one which saffron has mixed with it, right? Now, normally, if you look at saffron and these type of things, they are added to the water to enhance the cleansing properties of the water. They are not something which is added to the water to change the water, or it does not have the nature to change the water. You understand what I'm saying? So, والماء الذي اختلط بالزعفران أو الصابون, soap in previous times they would have maybe not soap exactly like we have today, maybe made from fat, whatever. Well, ushnanu is also like a herbal type of something to cleanse yourself, right? So these things also, they will not mm, take the water out of the hukam of water, because number one, the change is not so dramatic, right? And when a thing has three qualities, it must change two qualities of the water. Here, these things have three qualities. It's only changing one quality of the water, right? And also, if you look at it, these things are there to enhance the cleansing properties. So you won't say it is um, like changing the water from one hukam to another hukam. Carry on reading. أجري في المختصر ماء الزردج مجرى المرق. Okay, what he's saying here is, yes, Sahib Hidayah is making a reference to an ibarat in Kuduri Sharif. He's saying, remember, Mukhtasar, Al-Kitab, etc. refers to Kuduri. Mukhtasar, there's about three or four different Mukhtasars. He's referred to Mukhtasar, I told you before, that if you look at Zahir Riwayat, to take all the repetitions out and create one comprehensive manual, that's a Mukhtasar. There's Mukhtasar al-Karhi, there's Mukhtasar al-Tahawi, and there's Mukhtasar al-Quduri, right? So what he's saying here, that in Quduri Sharif, Ma'uz Dardaj was given the same hukam as Ma'ul Mark. You understand what I'm saying? I'll explain you what it means, but first I want you to do the Ibarat right. So here Sahib Hidayah is saying, Ujriya, you can just see if you got the right Ibarat also there in the meantime. He's saying, Ujriya fil mukhtasari ma'uz dardaji ma'al maraki. Right. In Kuduri Sharif, the same hukam of gravy was given to ma'uz zardaj. That's what he's saying. Are you with me? You understood what he's saying? What he's saying is, I told you zardaj is like a mineral from the earth. If I remember correctly, it's like potassium. So maybe it was put in the water to enhance the cleansing properties of it. So in Guduri Sharif, it is mentioned that, like how Ma'ul Mark, gravy, shorba, gravy, is, it changes. When water becomes gravy, the water is totally overpowered. So you cannot make wudu with that. Same thing when put a fair amount of potassium is put in the water, then you will not be able to make wudu with it, like how you cannot make wudu with ma'uz zardaj. You understood what is being said there exactly now? You understood that? right? So qala, that's Hidayah says, Ujriya fil mukhtasari. So ma'u zardaj. So the ma'u zardaj, Ujriya fil mukhtasar, it has been given in mukhtasar majral maraqi, the same hukam of maraq, right? But we know, if you understood the usul earlier, you'll understand that no, it's not supposed to be like gravy, because gravy is something which overpowers the water and it takes it out from one hukam to another hukam. And if you look at potassium that is put in the water, normally it is not there to change the water from one entity. Maybe you put the potassium in to enhance the cleansing property, etc. That's why he's saying, Wal Mariwiyu an Abi Yusufa, and what has been narrated from Abu Yusuf, Annahu bimanzilati ma'iz za'afrani. It is in the same hukam as saffron water, was sahih. And this is the more correct thing. Why? Because, as I said, it is not there to change it from one hukam to another hukam, but rather it is just there for what? To enhance the cleansing properties of the water. You understood? Are you with me? كَذَا النَّاطِفِ. And this is here is making a reference to, like I told you in the beginning, when we discussed in the beginning, you told the different tabaqa of the ulama. You get the ashabul takhrij, those that choose what the fatwa is on the madhab. Ne? So you're saying, كذا اختاروا الناطفي. Imam Natifi also chose that they say potassium will be like saffron water. It doesn't look, it's not been totally overpowered. It still has its ability to clean. Was Sarakhsiyu and Imam Sarakhsi. You know, I mentioned to you before, I'll mention again to you. Sometimes when you discuss the Messiah, you think to yourself, what has this got to us? What has this got to do with us? But if you understand the usul properly behind each masla, if you are sharp, if you are smart, if you are astute, if you understand the usul, and I always try to the best of my ability. I hope I'm succeeding in that, but to the best of my ability, I try to, when we discuss in the masla, I try to explain to you the usul behind it, so that you can apply it to a scenario that comes before you. Remember, I told you that the usul has been extrapolated from the Quran, the Hadith, from the Ijma. Then the author in his time, whatever scenarios were prevalent in his time, he tried to solve those scenarios through the usul that has been extrapolated from the Quran and Hadith, and the usul that the Hanafis has taken out. And if you are sharp enough, if you are astute enough, if you are smart enough, you will understand the usul behind the maslah. And if a situation comes in front of you today, you will be able to unravel it. Simple example to understand. Here he's speaking about zardaj, potassium. He's speaking about gravy. He's speaking about saffron. He's speaking about they're speaking about sabun, right? So you understand that these things don't really change the water, right? It is there to enhance the cleansing property. So if you get something else that comes today your way, it is put in the water and it doesn't really change the water. It's just maybe like you get a new type of detergent that comes, whatever, whatever. So then if you're smart enough, you see, okay, this doesn't change the water. You don't say now this is not water anymore. It's still water. And this has been, this year is just to to enhance its cleaning properties. Then you'll understand it. Now this is water. I can make wudu with it. I can make ghusl with it. I can remove the najasat with it. You understand what I'm saying? Right. So the next masala is quite interesting. Here he's going to explain the Shafi madhab. The Shafi madhab is a bit more strict. The Shafi madhab is a bit more rigid. See, وقال الشافعي لا يجوز التوضؤ بماء الزعفران وأشباهه مما ليس من جنس الأرض لأنه ماء مقيد. They say anything which is not directly from the earth, like saffron, it is grown on top of the earth, right? If anything which is not grown from the earth or doesn't come directly, not extracted directly from the earth, if it mixes with the water, then you cannot make wudu. Why you say so? You say ma'ul sa'fran, ma'ul ushnan. That is not just water. It is now saffron water. It is now potassium water. So he's saying just by the fact that you refer to it as saffron water, it takes it out of the hukam of water. It takes it out of the hukum of water. And then if something comes directly from the earth, he said that is fine. Why? Because look here, water is normally extracted from the earth. So there's no way you're going to get water that hasn't been affected by something of the earth. Most of the time it has been affected by something of the earth. You understand what I'm saying? So it's difficult to abstain. So if the water has been mixed with something that comes directly from the earth, like the water, like I told you, the water is in the dam, so the water will have some clay, right? Okay, right. So which is milk, not. Yeah, so broth, gravy, the more the same thing, which maybe like we, by us also, we say in South Africa, maybe we say a soup or whatever. So it is something which has been changed from normal water into like a food item, basically. Right. Okay, so coming back to the sabak here, so Imam Shafi rahimullah ta'ala says that yes, if it's mixed with something from the earth, like clay or minerals from the earth, then that is excusable. But other than that, the moment it doesn't have the word ma, it becomes ma'ul shnan, ma'ul zardaj, ma'ul baqila, it's not permissible. So you can see the Shafi madhab here, according to Sahih Hidayah, is much, much more strict. But remember, I told you before, they don't take the Shafi madhab from the Hanafi kitab and don't take the Hanafi madhab from the Shafi kitab. Because like in the Hanafi madhab also, you get what the fatwa is on and what the fatwa is not on. Isai Bidai wasn't a master in the Shafi madhab. Doesn't mean what he's mentioning about the Shafi madhab, the fatwas on there. And sometimes maybe there are several aqwal in the Hanafi Shafi madhab, but you just mentioned the qawl which can be used to show the difference and to highlight our usul. You understand what I'm saying? So even though we mention the Shafi madhab, etc. It doesn't mean you can go and give fatwa and you say, oh, we done Imam Shafi's madhab here, so we're going to get out of the Shafi madhab, right? So he's saying, وَأَشْبَاهِ, so things that come from the earth, that is fine, right? Right? مما ليس فيه من جنس, right? ولأن الماء, right? لأن الماء لا يخلو عنها عادة, because water, it is not free from that, because water mostly comes from the earth, so it will be contaminated, right? ولنا أن اسم الماء باق على الإطلاق. We say that look here, even though it is ma'u zafran, but it is still water, and the predominant feature of it, it is still thin, it is still flowable. Yes, if so much soap was added to it, or so much saffron that it lost its ability to cleanse, it lost its ability to flow. Now we say this is not water anymore. Now we say it is maghloob. But as long as it can still flow, it has its ability to cleanse. The predominant feature of that is what? Is water. Okay, time is up. We have to switch over now to the tafsir, but we'll continue tomorrow. We'll address the question that has been discussed there also. And we'll also look at, inshallah, the last few parts. We can do that again also. But now we'll do tafsir, inshallah.